So as you may already know from some of my other videos, I was an investment banker. I don't think I've quite told the story of why I went to investment banking and how I ended up going there, how I ended up even discovering what this thing was. So I'm going to tell that story today. Growing up, I didn't know what investment banking was. I wasn't someone who was born out of the womb and had parents who were in finance or anything like that. Investment banking wasn't something that I knew about. I didn't know anyone who was an investment banker. So this wasn't something that I was even aware of until really my late freshman to early sophomore year. My undergrad university had a business school. Once I had joined that, I also joined a business fraternity. And from there, I got to really hear and learn about the different types of professions that students end up doing after they graduate. Now, one of those was investment banking. I had heard about the upperclassmen who had gotten internships in these roles. I'd also heard a lot about consulting at the time too. Those seemed to be the two main roles that students recruited for and really wanted to join. So I heard about it, had a lot of conversations, and just was like, what is this thing even? What does it require? What is the day-to-day? And that's when I started to do my research. So I went from the discovery phase, which was largely from just speaking to people, being part of the undergrad business school, and then my own research. Now, I was from a non-target school. And what this means is that unlike schools like UPenn or NYU, where those banks, investment banks, are actually looking for students at those schools, and it's like a feeder target school, ours was a non-target. So once I did the research and I was like, wow, okay, this seems like something that I would be interested in doing, I tried to figure out how I was going to break in. We were from a non-target, so a lot of that was learning that I had to do a lot of networking to get into those, to even have a shot of getting my resume looked at. So that is exactly what I did. At the time, I briefly considered consulting, and that's a whole separate video in itself, or like IB versus consulting, which one should I choose, and how it ended up in banking. So I'll say that for another time. I went full speed, started reaching out to people, setting up calls to various banks and groups, trying to hear about their experience and basically get my resume through to have an internship. What ended up happening was during my sophomore year internship, I actually got an offer that same August. So right after my sophomore year internship, I think my year was when they had really, really pulled up the recruiting cycle. So let's say right now it's 2023. Summer of 2023, I was interviewing for 2024 summer internship position. The final interview, my super day, was in August of the prior year before joining for the next summer. So it was just quite a whirlwind of things where I went from not knowing what investment banking was to learning about it during my underclassmen years, deciding that I was going to go into investment banking, and then recruiting and doing calls and just making that a huge focus for basically my entire sophomore year. Landed that junior year internship, did that internship, and then ended up getting the full-time offer. So that is the quick TLDR, and I will make a separate video about how it is recruiting as a non-target school. And if you are currently watching this as an underclassman, as a freshman, sophomore, also know that there are typically programs that are open to underclassmen as well. You don't have to just join from your junior year internship. So I start looking into that. So that is my really brief story about how I got into investment banking. Hope this is helpful. Let me know of any questions below. Happy to address all of them.